Hello, how are you arriving today? Take a breath with me as we create the sacred container together to explore why I deeply believe community will be the cornerstone of thriving, abundant businesses in the next coming year. And I am going to show you how to create that community step by step. Welcome to Sacred Strategy, the business and energy podcast where bold strategies meet the magic of energy and intuition. I'm Sora Schilling, sacred space holder, business alchemist, and creator of the Devoted Archetypes, Sovereign Selling, and the Devoted Energy Coaching Model. For over a decade, I've guided thousands of coaches and space holders to build thriving, soul-aligned businesses that create impact and life-changing money. Let's cut through the noise of traditional strategies and uncover your unique medicine. Use the devoted archetypes to become a transformational space holder and learn to sovereignly sell with integrity. This podcast is your invitation to step into your magic and create a blissfully abundant business and life filled with curiosity, awe, and wonder. Let's dive in. Throughout 2023 and 2024, many of us felt the weight of community fatigue. We witnessed engagement dropping in spaces we'd lovingly cultivated, leaving many sacred space holders, possibly like yourself, feeling unseen and depleted. But I feel a profound shift on the horizon, a remembering of what true community means. And so, therefore, if your groups, including your Facebook group or your community groups, feel at the moment quite quiet, this episode is for you. Now, during times of hardship, we yearn for sanctuary, spaces that quiet the harsh noise of the outside world, even if just for a moment. People aren't just seeking another online space to gather. They're searching for places that soothe their nervous system, ignite their inspiration, and create genuine soul connections, as well as spaces where people can lean in and help one another. Places where they can truly land, be seen, and find belonging. As we explore generosity and community together, and give you some step by step approaches around how to build your community or reignite your community, let's go ahead and drop into 4 questions first. You can go ahead and consider this now or when you have a quiet moment to reflect. Number 1, when did you last feel truly seen in a community? What made that experience different than other communities? 2, what does your overflow of generosity look like? Where do you find yourself naturally giving without depletion? 3, if your community were a sanctuary, what elements would make it feel safe and nourishing? 4, what stories or beliefs might be holding you back from sharing your gifts more freely? All right, let these questions sit with you. They might reveal insights that surprise you. So, today's musings about community and generosity actually came after I listened to a story. A couple of weeks ago, a folk tale touched my heart so deeply, and I really couldn't shake it for a number of days. It was the story called The Girl with the Large Eyes from Black Folk Tales by Julius Lester. When I first heard the story, something in me shifted. It struck a chord that wouldn't let me settle for a really long time. This story speaks of a daughter searching for water for her family. And along her path, she meets a fish who shares not just water, but abundance beyond measure. Their connection blossoms into love, yet heartbreak follows when her family, unable to understand what lies beyond their knowing, rejects the fish. As she dies, she leaves this world with many children who float as water lilies, a transformation that carries both beauty and sorrow. I was so sad by the story, and I'm internally grateful for my writing mentor, Raquel Corona, who shared this folktale with me in her writing corner membership, which has been a sacred container for my own voice to emerge and bloom. I'll go ahead and share her Substack in the show notes so you can go ahead and follow her. As I sat with this story, I found myself wrestling with complex emotions. Part of me yearned for a really clean, clear ending, that perfect bow that ties everything together with meaning and purpose. But life, like this tale, often leaves us encoded with chapters rather than final, complete endings that are happy endings. I noticed my heart soaking in sadness, feeling that slight murmur of despair, like a song with holes in it. I found myself questioning, could I forgive the father and brother in the story? And then more deeply, who am I to say I would even have made a different choice, shaped by the society that I currently live in? In this time period, I find myself more in need of protection. I don't know if you feel this way too, more inclined to quiet my fight. Because what if? What if I am seen by those who desire to harm me? And yet the protagonist loved who she loved, brought water generously to those who needed it, while the fish generously gave to her and, by extension, to others he did not know. And so this is what the story whispered to me about generosity. Maybe fighting loudly against all the oppression and hate doesn't have to be my particular way. Perhaps generosity, giving the overflow of my water, can be more than enough. Here are the questions that emerge for me, which I offer to you. Do spiritual ideas cause us to bypass? Or can we learn that the end of suffering isn't about things making sense, but about releasing pain through acceptance, compassion, love, forgiveness, and gratitude? Can kindness and generosity be yet another way to fight oppression and hate? What becomes possible when we release our need for perfect endings? This story and these questions led me into deeper communication with the soul of my business. It spoke with such clarity about being more thoughtful and intentional in how we connect with our community members. It whispered to me about the transformative power of generosity, connection, and intentional space holding. Rather than blaming our communities for being quiet, for not engaging, and making ourselves victims by saying that, look at us, look at how much we're trying to be inserting ourselves in the community and they're not receiving it. Here are some practical wisdom tips to help you in creating communities that are rooted in generosity, that feel really dynamic and soul nourishing. So, the soul of my business revealed a couple of things to me. The first one was to consider again returning back to my vision and my sacred intent for the community. So I invite you to consider begin by connecting deeply with the soul of your community. Listen for its purpose, its medicine, its unique magic. When this vision crystallizes, everything else naturally begins to align. You have now a purpose to why you're having this community. The next is rhythmic connection. So I invite you to consider creating monthly themes, concepts, through lines that pulse with your community's energy and needs. They are challenged by something, and therefore that is why they seek the sanctuary of this community that you have now built. Break down the themes or the through lines into these weekly touch points that inspire connection, reflection, and growth. In a community, you are not the only one leading, you are co creating. And so, therefore, everyone has a seat at the table. The next was playful presence. Could we infuse more joy into our spaces through creative prompts, soul stirring questions, and really delightful moments that light up your community's hearts that are fun and engaging? The last two that the soul of my business was having me consider was align technology and sustainable sacred practices. So, using AI tools mindfully to support our content creation can actually free your energy to then do the most important thing, which is to have genuine connection and presence in your community. If you're spending all this time focused on what it is that you're going to put in your community, then you are so tired that you don't actually want to go into the community and engage. And that last one with the sustainable sacred practice is about designing in your life and in your business calendar a weekly rhythm that nourishes you rather than depletes you. So, creating systems that allow you to show up fully while honoring your own energetic boundaries are key to creating sustainability and longevity within your communities. Pausing here to let you know that I've created a brand new downloadable PDF that you can use to follow along with this podcast episode. This isn't just something to skim through. It's actually designed to give you space to jot down your own ideas as you design your community with intention and magic. And the best part? You'll get this fab resource along with a fresh weekly resource inside of Sacred Business Circle. This membership is here to support you with each episode of the Sacred Strategy podcast. We're talking tips, behind the scenes insights from my own business, what's been working, what's not working, and the exact tools I'm using to create a thriving, sustainable, sacred business. So go ahead and take a look in the show notes where there's more information available. Now, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what's in this week's resource. It's called the Sacred Community Blueprint, and it's here to help you map out a 12-month community framework so engagement feels effortless, not overwhelming, set weekly and daily rhythms so you always know what to post or share, avoid burnout with a sacred community checklist that makes holding space feel expansive instead of exhausting. If you've been feeling like community building is more of a struggle than a sanctuary, this will shift everything. Okay, so again, you'll find all the details about Sacred Business Circle in the show notes, and I'd love, love, love for you to become a founding member. You'll get weekly resources, real talk about growing a sacred business, and the support to build something truly sustainable. So go ahead and join us. Head to the Substack link that is below. Grab the Sacred Community Blueprint by becoming a member of the Sacred Business Circle. Okay, so let's dive into this a little bit more. As sacred space holders, we are the stewards of energy, the architects of belonging, and the keepers of transformation. But how do we create communities that feel generous, abundant, and deeply nourishing, not just for those who gather within them, but also for ourselves because we're part of the community? So here's how to have a thriving, heart-centered community. Before we rush into strategy and structure, we begin with the soul. What is the true essence of this space? What is its medicine, its unique magic? So go ahead and pause for a moment. Breathe. Imagine this community as a living, breathing frequency, an entity, one that already exists in the unseen. What does it long for? What does it desire to become? What gifts does it hold for those that enter into the sacred space? When you allow this vision to crystallize first, everything else, including the way that you're going to engage, the prompts, your rhythm, will align really easily. Because now you're not forcing a community into existence simply because you believe it's a strategy to, quote, get more clients. You're co-creating with its spirit. But vision alone isn't enough. We must also ground into intention, the foundation that keeps your community not just alive, but thriving. So consider these questions. What transformation are your potential community members seeking and might be seeking from you? What challenges have led them to this space? How will you support their healing, growth, and evolution? Your community isn't just a gathering of people. It's a container for change. Those who step inside are here because they're looking for something, a shift, a revelation, a sense of belonging, something specific that is to your medicine. Or why are they in your community when there are many others? And you, as a sacred space holder, are here to guide, witness, and nurture that transformation. This isn't about fixing or solving. It's about creating a shared vision of wisdom where each member brings their own experiences, insights, and medicine. They have a problem, you have a sacred space, and together you'll go on a journey of discovery, healing, and expansion. When your vision is infused with intention, your community becomes more than just a group. It becomes a living ecosystem of transformation and connection. And that is where true magic unfolds because now your community members are invested in themselves, in you, and everyone that is part of that community. Once your community soul whispers its purpose to you, the next step is to weave that energy into something tangible. Think of it like the pulse of a drum, steady, rhythmic, alive. The rhythm of a community isn't about rigid structure. It's about creating a consistent, organic flow that allows people to feel both held and free. One of the most powerful ways to create this rhythm is through monthly themes, concepts, or through lines, whatever you desire to call it. These are the anchors that hold the frequency of what you are exploring together throughout the year. These themes serve as a sacred thread, weaving through every interaction, guiding your members into deeper levels of awareness, engagement, and transformation. When done with intention, themes don't just provide structure, they create a sense of belonging and a deeper sense of understanding as to why they're there, helping people feel as if they're part of something expansive, yet also deeply personal. It has this space of continuation. But a monthly theme alone isn't enough. To truly create a sense of connection, we break down these concepts into weekly touch points, little moments of inspiration, reflection, and interaction that helps your members integrate what they're experiencing. So, this might look like maybe one day a journal prompt that invites deep self inquiry and discovery. And this is something that you do once a week or once a month. You might also do weekly voice notes, sharing an intuitive download, a story, or soul stirring insight. You might do a live session where everyone gathers, not just to receive, but to witness and to be witnessed. Or maybe this is a creative challenge, a movement practice, or a ritual to embody the theme in a more tangible way. Whatever your touch point is on a weekly or monthly basis, they must be consistent so that people know to look for it and to come back regularly into the community. And when people feel inspired, they open up, they contribute, they deepen. Because the real magic of a community isn't how much content you create, it's about the rhythm of presence and participation. It's how people return again and again, not because they feel obligated, but because they feel nourished in a space that feels generous and open and fluid, and where there's a lot of you participating amongst the group. This rhythm becomes the heartbeat of your community, a steady grounding force that holds space for both transformation and trust. And the more you allow this rhythm to emerge organically rather than forcing it, the more your community flourish, not as a collection of individuals, but as an interconnected, woven field of wisdom, growth, and shared evolution. The question is, what rhythm wants to emerge in your space? What pulse will keep your community alive, engaged, and deeply nourished? Listen for this, then let it lead. Okay, so now let's talk about joy because communities that thrive are communities that delight. Too often, we approach community building with an energy of obligation. Quote, I have to post today. I need to create content. This is depleting. Oh, but I'm not gathering clients this way. It's not working. But what if instead you played? What if you let yourself be guided by curiosity? What if your community was a place of lightness as much as depth? What if connection was sparked not through perfect planning, but through genuine moments that spark your delight? Simple things like soul stirring questions, unexpected challenges, or creative prompts can invite your members into a state of wonder. Because true connection doesn't come from content alone. It comes from that unexpected spark that ignites when people feel seen, heard, and are part of something magical. Much of these posts for me are things like naming my new favorite song or asking them to share what their emotion is like as an emoji. These are more fun, dynamic questions that may have some connection to the theme, but it doesn't always have to. This is where we can begin to create some lightness, including if you were an ice cream flavor today, what ice cream flavor would you be? So rather than striving to keep up with content, shift towards creating experiences. Let play be part of the rhythm. When joy is infused into your space, participation becomes effortless, and engagement becomes something your community wants to do, not because they feel like they should do. Okay, let's be honest. Community care can feel like a lot. That's why we use tools, not in replacement for connection, but in assistance. AI tools can help with content creation, scheduling, and even engagement. But the key is intention. Instead of letting technology dictate the rhythm of your space, let it be an extension of your presence. So ask yourself, does this tool free up my energy for real connection? Does it amplify my magic rather than replace it? Does it help me serve my community with greater ease? Technology, when used mindfully, supports your ability to be present. It allows you to automate what needs to run in the background so you can focus on what matters most, which is showing up fully and engaging in the most meaningful way. So I invite you to consider instead of resisting technology, integrate it in a way that honors your leadership style so that it enhances your ability to nurture your space without actually draining your energy. And finally, let's talk about sustainability because if you're drained, overextended, or uninspired, your community will feel it. And I know for myself as a projector, this is what has caused me to not feel energized in entering into a community before. But that has all changed based on understanding generosity and how to set up the intent, the vision, the purpose, the themes, and those weekly touch points. So, your weekly rhythm should nourish you, not deplete you. You don't have to show up every day. You don't have to be consistently available. Instead, create a sacred system, one that allows you to show up fully, joyfully, and in alignment. For me, it's every couple of days. I drop in, notice my energetic frequency. I begin to expand into this space of feeling excited to see what's going on in the community and also excited because I'm going to be answering some of my own polls and questions that are available, not just only to my community, but to me as well. And so by doing so, I know I'm carving out a particular amount of time on my schedule that day because that's what feels true. And then I go all in and I do it with so much love. So for you, this might look like setting clear energetic boundaries, deciding when and how you're going to engage, pre-scheduling posts so that you can focus on deeper connections. For me, I have planned out my year of content inside of the community, and then we schedule them out. The team schedules out those posts so that they are about a month to two ahead. So that we all can then focus on the deeper conversations that are happening day by day, rather than thinking about the fact that we have to also put in and schedule those posts. Also, consider weaving in rituals, perhaps lighting a candle before a live session, or pulling a card before creating your content, or dropping in and feeling the delight of each of your community members before you enter in and you start engaging. Because a community that thrives is one that is built on reciprocity. You give, you receive, you lead, and you let yourself be held in return. So, as you step into your sacred leadership, I invite you to ask, how can I build my community from a place of overflow rather than depletion? How can I let generosity be my guiding principle, trusting that the more I pour in from a place of joy, the more it ripples back to me in ways I cannot yet even imagine? This is the heart of community. This is the rhythm of generosity. This is the magic of sacred space holding. And I cannot wait to see what you create or how you go and re energize your community. Just last week in our Lush Business Mastermind lab, something magical unfolded. Luminaries came together to breathe new life into their community spaces. The energy in the container was electric as we explored the soul of community building, from nourishing and nurturing sacred circles to creating vibrant online hubs. What emerged was far beyond simple strategy. Together, we dove deep into magnetic messaging, discovering how to articulate each person's unique magic in a way that feels naturally drawn from their soul. And we explored the art of weaving monthly themes that pulsated with intention, with desirability, and crafted weekly touch points that inspired genuine connection. But what touched my heart most deeply was watching each luminary in the mastermind light up as they remembered why they created their communities in the first place. Their eyes sparkled as they reconnected with their deeper purpose, their true medicine. By the end of our 2 hours together, everyone had both practical systems and soulful strategies to cultivate thriving communities without depleting their own energy. This is the magic of Lush, where practical magic and strategy meets energetic wisdom, where secret space holders remember their power and where community becomes a portal for transformation. As we close, generosity and community aren't just concepts. They're really portals to transformation, both in your business and in your life. The spaces we create hold the power to change lives, including our own. And so I invite you to enter into our Devoted Collective, which is a free community where you can see everything I share today in action. You'll find the link below in the show notes. My prayer to you: may you continue creating spaces that change lives. May you trust in the power of a generous spirit. May you know that your medicine matters. Keep creating, keep connecting, and keep showing up with love and generosity in your heart.